This is the Multi-Orgasmic Mama, the podcast for high-achieving moms to have sex worth putting the energy in for. I'm Tilly Storm, a holistic sex and intimacy coach, and it's my mission to help you want sex again, to have better orgasms, and to feel confident and sexy so you experience more pleasure in the bedroom and beyond. Welcome back, mamas. I've just returned from Labor Day weekend with my family, and we went on a little vacation to go see the extended family in the New Orleans, Louisiana area. So we're excited to be back in the regular routine and the swing of things. And I also took this time off, these last 4 or 5 days off, to really get re-inspired around my work. I've been super on fire about the direction that I'm going and the type of clients that I'm calling in and choosing to work with. And with that has come some new teachings that I wanted to share with you to really help you understand where you are at in your own orgasmic development and journey. So when we look at where you're at and understanding your path to orgasm, the capacity that you have to experience pleasure and orgasm, what you're going to learn is that there are different practices, techniques, and approaches that are going to support you depending on what stage of orgasmic development you're in. When I'm talking about orgasmic development, what I mean is, and not to put an hierarchy to this at all, so I want to be extremely upfront that there is no hierarchy to the phases of orgasmic development. It's simply a trajectory that will help you expand to more and more and more pleasure. So one is not better than the other. If you're in the first stage and you want to be in the third stage, there's no judgment here. It's just an expansion into the more. And getting to that more means there's a couple of foundational things that get to happen before you can get to that more. So when you are new to learning about your sexuality, using your sexuality as a self-development tool, which I haven't spoken too much of lately, but you're going to hear me talk about it a hell of a lot more because this is where we're going, hot mamas. I am done educating people on their anatomy and their bodies. If you want that, go somewhere else. There's all sorts of other sex podcasts that will tell you where to find your G-spot, all the things. I'm bored with that. I'm done with that. I've been doing that for 4.5 years and I'm just done with it. This is all over the internet now. Sex coaching has become super popular. You can go follow 1 million Instagram people online and find out all of the basic shit you ever wanted to know. So what I want to share with you is the trajectory and the stages that you get to move through to experience all that there is to experience in your orgasmic and pleasure capacity. So the tools and practices and techniques that you're going to be using when you're in the early first stage are going to be completely different than the second and the third that I'm going to share with you. So you don't want to be using tools and practices from the third stage when you haven't gone through the first stage. And I know you're all like, okay, tell us what the stages are. I'm going to get to it in a minute. So I want you to know first that every stage of orgasmic development, it's an exploration and adventure of its own to discover the deepest parts of yourself and to discover your deepest capacities. And what I see is that the way that a woman experiences orgasm is the way that she experiences life. So women who are very disconnected from their body and their sexuality, who are so disconnected from life, they're living in fear, overwhelm, anxiety, and stress, all these things, they never fully tap into life. They never fully tap into pleasure or to their orgasmic potential. Most people die never knowing their orgasmic and pleasure potential because this is really the first time in history where we've had access to these tools and practices to be able to get there. Some women, well, you can experience orgasm and pleasure through pushing and forcing yourself to get there. But if this is you, and maybe it is easy for you to orgasm, maybe you're already multi-orgasmic, that's great. But some of you, you're still so in your head about it, and you still tend to treat sex and approach sex from more of a performance than it is an experience, more of a destination to get to and an obligation than something that you're here to really experience the sensuality and the deliciousness of it all, because you are completely incapable of slowing down and savoring anything. And what I found and learned in myself is that the extent to which I can surrender and show up in the present moment is the extent to which I can be in a totally meditative, blissed out state, is also to the extent to which I can fully surrender to being multi-orgasmic and experiencing omni-orgasmic states in my life, and to be able to tap into pleasure when I desire and experience life in all bliss and all of the sensuality and the deliciousness and the lusciousness of it. So in this way, you can kind of relate orgasm to meditation. I think I did an episode on orgasm and meditation, and how if you were to ask people to describe meditation and to describe orgasm, the words people use to describe each would sound the same. They're not much different if you really think about it. So being great at orgasm means that you have the capacity to be great at meditation. So some of you may be regular meditators. Maybe this is a completely normal thing that you do every day. And just know that if you're great at that, then you also have this capacity to really expand and be amazing in your orgasmic development and reach amazing states of orgasmic bliss and ecstasy that you didn't even know were possible. So you can understand these stages of orgasmic development and learning in the same way that you can be great at meditation. For example, if you're new to meditating, you just have to learn a couple of techniques. Someone needs to be like, okay, this is what you do when a thought pops into your mind. And you just need to know that this is how you do it. And then once you practice it, it gets a little easier. But you also know that if you tried meditating, this is only going to take you so far, is the technique, right? Beyond technique comes a mastery. It's the mastery of getting out of your head, of being able to witness the thoughts but not attaching to them. It's being able to fully surrender and engage and show up in the present moment without judgment, without attaching a thought to it, but just fully being and experiencing what's happening. So when you're moving through these 3 phases of orgasmic development that I'm going to tell you about, it's very much the same thing. The first stage is all about learning the techniques and getting basic knowledge and support. So just like meditation, it's learning, okay, well, this is the thing that you do, and this is how you do it. But later on, it's much more about the mastery and the surrender, the expansion, and the moving into the more, right? So while most women still only perceive that the orgasmic experience is just a sensation of pleasure that builds up over time, that leads to an explosion of a fireworks sensation, and then it immediately drops off within 5 seconds. Well, I'm here to tell you that the definition of orgasm that you currently have, if that is it, is only the tip of the iceberg. That there are so many different types of orgasms. My most popular episodes on this podcast are on the 2 that I did around the different types of orgasms. I can't remember the episode numbers, but if you scroll through, they were a pretty long time ago. So different types of orgasms. And there's all sorts of different orgasmic experiences that can be completely mind-blowing, expansive, and enlightening, and opening you up to deeper truths about yourself that can help you have a spiritual awakening. Now, while most women really just want to experience great orgasms, and you're here because you want better orgasms and you want better climaxes, and there's no shame in wanting that. I mean, that's really why most of us get into this in the first place. It's totally why I got into it in the first place. But what I really, really desire women to know, and men too, is to understand the depth and the breadth of your orgasmic nature, that there is so much more to experience that you're currently just not. There's so much more you could be doing with this delicious connection to your sexuality and your body, like manifest your greatest dreams and desires, heal certain parts of your body when you get sick. Literally, you can use orgasmic energy to do that. Do it all the time. Yes, you can do this. So yes, the desire to have a great orgasm, the desire to have amazing orgasmic experiences can be the impetus for you to learn and expand and heal more, as well as educate you on the more there is to experience and how your nervous system plays a role in this, how somatics plays a role in this, and the importance of your breath, sound, and movement for becoming a freaking energy transmutation alchemist and ninja. So when it comes to moving energy, dealing with big emotions, breath, sound, movement, like this is how you do it. This is what I teach. So it's like the desire to have great orgasms becomes a portal into greater and deeper self-awareness, spiritual awakening, and manifestation. It becomes more than just an orgasm, but all about this instead. And while I adore teaching people the techniques to have great orgasms and become multi-orgasmic, it's what I do in the Sensually Embodied Woman program. What I adore even more is showing you how to use your orgasmic capacity to fuel greater success and wealth, to open you up to a new relationship to life, to experiencing a spiritual awakening and learning the truth of who you are, and experiencing a level of self-empowerment that gives you a deeper, richer experience of life than you would had you not known how to use your orgasmic energy in a totally conscious and intentional way. So just like meditation can help you experience a better, more fulfilling and joyful life, having an orgasmic practice or a self-pleasure practice is like putting rocket fuel on a meditation practice because it extends it to be something that can fuel even greater expansion and bliss states and success in your life. My God, if only people knew how to use their sexual energy to manifest what they want. It's truly how I live my life. It's how I create the liberation, the level of freedom. I mean, just going back to my family to see them recently, it's crazy to see the difference. And not that one is better than the other. It's just that my life is so expansive. I get to do whatever I want when I want to do it. And it came all because I dove into my sexuality. I went to the depths and I discovered how much more liberation and bliss there is to experience than I grew up knowing was even possible. So not too long ago, if you think of it, meditation was seen as a weird, ultra woo-woo thing that people did. And now they're teaching it in corporate settings, in corporate companies. So really developing your own orgasmic capacity is kind of the same thing this day and age as meditation was like 15, 20 years ago. People think it's weird and out there, but trust me, you just go look on Instagram and there's a million women's self-empowerment coaches, sex coaches nowadays. I mean, there's so many. When I started, there were hardly any, and now there are so many. So just give it another decade, and this is not going to be weird at all. I just happen to be the trend. I don't follow trends. I've always been the trend. So of course I got into this pretty early on. So just give it a little time. It's going to become totally normal that the way people are going to be using sexuality as a self-development tool. I know that it's the most amazing and comprehensive self-development tool to really transform someone's life, but this is still fairly new to the mainstream. So, all right, without further ado, let's talk about these three stages of orgasmic development here. All right, the first is orgasmic reclamation. If you are in this stage, you might feel really sexually shut down. You might not know what's okay. You might not know what there even is to experience. At this stage, you need sexual tools, techniques, a basic empowerment, and really just learn how to celebrate your sexuality on a basic level. So if you grew up with lots of shame and guilt around your sexuality, like I did growing up, being raised Southern Baptist, if you were raised in purity culture, if you just had parents that never talked to you about sex or pleasure, or that completely shamed you, or you had sexually traumatic experiences that you're really confused about, and you don't feel empowered and you experience more shame than you do celebration, this is really where you're at. You're in an orgasmic reclamation stage. And you also, for a lot of men out there, might just need reassurance that it's okay to masturbate and have a high sex drive. For women, this might be the case, but most of you listening here are probably not in that. I have tons of sexual energy plays. You probably here because you have lack of desire, lack of libido, you're not having the orgasms you want to be having. So you might just need reassurance that it's okay to be a sexual creature, to fantasize about people or certain sexual experiences, to have a self-pleasure or masturbation practice, to explore your body, and to use sex toys if you so choose. And I would say most of humanity is right there. Most of humanity is in a sexual reclamation stage of orgasmic development. So you might not even know your own anatomy. Most of the women in my programs are still unaware that A spots exist. They've never touched their cervix before. Some people don't know what a perineum is. Some people don't know what a cervix is. So you never really know. And while I have video teachings and recordings on these things, because again, like I said at the beginning of this, I'm not teaching this anymore. This is like, it's there for you when you need it, but like we've got to get beyond this because there is more, right? And this is why you're here, because you want to know that more. So yes, if you're learning your anatomy, if you're learning how to self-pleasure and to figure out what it is that even gets you to orgasm, you're in sexual reclamation. So while some people come to me in this stage, I tend to work with people kind of in between the orgasmic reclamation stage because they've already done some of this basic research and learning. And they're kind of in between this and the orgasmic expansion stage, which is the second stage of orgasmic development. Orgasmic expansion. So once you reclaim, then you expand. So expansion is all about expanding your definition and experience of orgasm. You can have an orgasm just fine. You may even experience multiple orgasms. You may experience pleasure having sex and self-pleasuring, but you're looking for something with more depth. You're ready for the different types of orgasms, or maybe if you still only have one, you want to become multi-orgasmic. So you can recognize that there's more inside of your body that you aren't accessing. I would say this is the majority of the people who come to me and who join my group program. This is where you're at. So you're learning that sex is more than a destination. You know it in your head, and you know it's more than just a climax, but you don't really know how to enjoy it and how to get out of the goal-oriented sex and just be in the moment and show up for whatever that arises in your sexual experience. You want to be able to do that, but you just don't know how. This is really the perfect place to be at to come to the Sensually Embodied Woman program, because this is what it's all about, is healing your relationship with your body and sexuality so that you can expand into that more. And here is where my sweet spot is. The third stage of orgasmic development, which is orgasmic mastery. This is not something that I go into in my group program. And this is why my work is shifting. This is why I'm shifting into working with people over an extended period of time for 6 to 12 months, so that I have the time and the bespoke one-on-one private mentorship to be able to take you from reclamation to mastery, because it takes time. It takes lots and lots of delicious, luscious time. So this is my favorite stage to teach in and to be in and to play in, yet it's the one that I get to do the least often because only a few of you out there are really ready for this stage. If you haven't gone through the reclamation and expansion, it's really necessary to have the foundational tools, techniques, and practices of the first two stages to get to mastery. So if you don't have them, it's not going to feel, if you do the mastery techniques and practices, it's not going to feel fully embodied, or you're going to have so much shit come up along the way, we have to go back and do all that stuff anyway. So this is really where my zone of genius is, okay? And this is why we're totally shifting into having, taking people in group and then taking the few of you that are ready to work at a super deep and intimate level over an extended period of time and also with me in person. We're going to take the few of you out there, and we're going to teach you and guide you from reclamation to expansion to mastery, or just expansion to mastery. Because this is where it's at. This is where it's at, people. What happens here? Well, in orgasmic mastery, it's all about using your sexual energy for spiritual growth, manifestation, healing, or personal development. You don't need to be completely done with the expansion stage to move into mastery. However, like I said, you need those foundational tools, practices, and techniques from the Taoist and Tantric arts to get you to orgasmic mastery. So this is what I'm so excited to be sharing with you. I recorded a video for those of you who have done self-development work before, who have probably done coaching before. You're already really successful in your career, your business. You've won the accolades and the awards, you've done all the things, and you're ready to use your sexuality to be the greatest self-development tool to fuel you into greater success, expansion, healing, and manifestation, and spiritual and personal development. You're ready for it. I want to find you and I want to talk to you, but this is a podcast, so it's hard for me to do that. It's really hard for me to do that because I don't know who's listening, but I know there's some of you here listening right now who are ready for that. This is going to require a deep level of investment in time, energy, resources, absolutely. But I want to work with you, with those of you who are here, who you know that this is your next frontier in self-development and spiritual growth, is using your sexual energy to really get you there, healing those sacral chakra wounds, all the things related to sacral chakra, inner child, emotional mastery, expansion of pleasure and orgasm. Yes, all the things we get to work with. But this isn't something that I can do in a group setting alone. This takes a lot of time, like I said, and lots of detailed attention and giving you the practices that you are currently ready for when you are ready for them. So, which stage are you in, my loves? I would love to hear. You can email me at contact@tilly-storm.com and you can let me know. I would love to hear from you. Again, if you are one of these people ready to go into mastery and you want to become an orgasmic goddess and use all of that sexuality to fuel you into your greatest life possible, I want to show you how. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if you reach out to me at contact@tilly-storm.com and you let me know, and I will send you an application and we can talk about what I'm offering in terms of working with you in a private mentorship setting. So do that. Email me at contact@tilly-storm.com and we can set up a chat, discuss what working with me might look like. All right, my loves, thank you so much for listening here today. What I really envision for all of you is to get to this third stage of orgasmic mastery, because this is what we all deserve and are worthy of experiencing: a life of complete bliss and liberation and joy and pleasure and ease and grace and abundance. Yes, we're here for all of it. No matter where you are on your journey, I've got something for you. So email in, contact@tilly-storm.com if you want to go deeper, if you're new to listening to this podcast, and if you want the 5 most condensed versions of episodes. If you want this whole podcast, 218 episodes now, condensed into 5 episodes, go download my 5 days to epic sex and pleasure for high achieving women training at tilly-storm.com. That one will lead you right to it. Put in your name and email, and you can learn all about, in a very short amount of time, what I'm about and what I teach. So go download that training, and I look forward to getting to know you more, my loves. Talk to you soon. Bye. Chances are, if you hear my voice right now, you might be a woman who struggles with lack of libido or desire, doesn't find sex that fulfilling or satisfying, or that's so busy and in your head that it's really challenging to drop in and actually enjoy sex when it happens. Yes, this podcast is here to help you with that. In each episode, I will be sharing everything I know to help you experience more pleasure in your sex life. But let's face it, simply obtaining more information isn't going to change anything about your sex life. The thing is, being a high achieving mom who's already in her head a lot and is strapped for time and energy, more information is not what you need, sweetheart. Alternatively, learning to rewire your body and your brain so you can get out of your head, be in your body, and enjoy yourself is required. If you're really serious and committed to doing the embodiment practices, the somatic and the nervous system reprogramming, so you can experience epic sex in the bedroom and beyond, then I invite you to consider my Sensually Embodied Woman program. This is my signature program to teach and to coach high-achieving moms like you. And it's how over 70 women have experienced a massive increase in their sexual desire and pleasure in the bedroom and beyond in less than 4 months. Through the program, you'll get deep, intimate coaching from me for 16 weeks, where I'll be able to personally guide you through your specific sex life and relationship struggles. And you'll also instantly join a sisterhood of other high-level women going through the same things to support you on the journey. On top of that, in addition to all of the coaching, the community, the accountability, the teachings, and the audio-guided embodiment practices and meditations, when you join the Sensually Embodied Woman program, you'll get lifetime access to our member library with new bonus content that we're continually adding in. And by the way, the program does help you to become a multi-orgasmic mama too. So yes, you can rely on just the information I share with you here, and yes, you may get the pleasure education you never got growing up. You may grow the ovaries enough to break the ice with your partner and have a meaningful conversation about your sex life, or you could take the shortcut and get the support you're going to need right off the bat. So if you're ready to commit to doing what it takes to have epic sex and pleasure in the next 4 months, then click the link in the show notes and fill out an application for the Sensually Embodied Woman program, and you'll be on your way to joining my magical world of multi-orgasmic motherhood and fast-tracking your journey to a thriving sex life and relationship today. Once again, hit the link in the show notes to apply for the Sensually Embodied Woman, and I'll see you there in the program.